Okay, he's got to get to the stream. He's got to remove that out of there. There we
There we
go.
are.
We're trying to help our tech out this morning or this
This
afternoon. He's a new guy on the block, and all I can say is, "Hey, ladies, brother, this engineering is some tough work to do. You cannot let those ladies outdo you, man." But we're here to help you out. Now we're here Friday Live. Those who are on the other link, things didn't work out well, but this is working out well right now. Hopefully, engineers in the background. Sharon, say something, please. Save
Hello,
us.
and we are so glad to be here another week after to start another topic with you. We
Mm-hmm.
just finished up commitment, and today we are going to start a new one, which has to do with compatibility.
Compatibility.
Yes, we are taking the journey together, and I am Sharon or Zymar.
Zymar, a mixture of Imar
I know.
and
And Zare.
Zare. Hey, I like that.
And
That's
that's
a
kind of
us
cute.
thing.
Yes.
That's a us thing. Hey, I got to put up here real quickly too because a new kid on the block here is trying his best to do his thing, and we're very happy about the fact that at least he's trying to do a thing. Let's see if I can find out what I'm trying to look for. Go ahead,
Yes.
keep talking.
I was okay. When you were talking, I didn't want to talk over
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so, as since I am Zare or Sharon,
Mm-hmm.
and I am here with my wonderful husband who
Mm-hmm.
carries the load. And I'm telling you, ladies, if you have a man who carries the load, do a better job than I do of letting him know how much you appreciate him. And if you have a lady, guys, if you have a lady who carries the load, do the same thing. It is not easy. I've been watching what he's been doing this evening just since I got home from work and getting ready to do this and three other fires that he had to put out on for other things over the time. It's amazing watching him, and it's very appreciative. I really appreciate what you do and how you do it. And because honestly, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
I'm not cut out to
it's
do
not
that.
easy being green.
It's not. It's not easy walking in your footsteps either, but I tell you what, I do appreciate it. I see what you do.
Well, you have this what they call soft kitty paws. So
I
as,
do.
as long as you keep on letting those soft kitty paws,
Oh.
do their thing on me, then I'll carry the load for you, gals.
Oh, well, hey, that,
Okay.
that's called
Share
compatibility.
it is. Share. Want you to share it with your friends. Want you to share this with your enemies. Want to share this with your girlfriend, boyfriend, your mom, dad, anybody that you know that
Co-workers.
has to do with relationships, that want to get in relationships, who want to expand the relationship, or
Hmm.
like we looked at last time, rebuild their
Yes,
relationships,
yes.
or remodel the relationship.
Remodel.
Then you want to start listening to our show today. We got a very good topic called compatibility. And I think that's very important in a relationship to bring that in. So why don't
Yes.
you give them, Sharon, what
Our
our
opening
vision,
words.
yes, our
Yes.
vision or model, or some people say our mission.
Yes.
Mission. Go ahead.
Um, our motto is we are going to relate. It doesn't matter what anybody says, we are going to relate. But in taking the journey together, we try to instill in people the idea of relating in a balanced manner. And what we mean by balanced is you start off with someone who becomes your friend. And you, as you build on that friendship and you build into a stronger relationship, you build, you come into a committed relationship with your lover. And then as you build onto that, you go into that long-term relationship with your friend and your lover. So you have both sides of a relationship in one person, and therefore you have a balanced relationship with your lover and your friend.
Lover and your friend. Wow, what a balanced way to do. Not always easy, no doubt about it. From that end, I just was thinking how balance has a lot to do with the good side, the bad side, and finding the middle between both
Yeah,
sides.
yeah, it's balance.
Exactly,
you know
every day. Yeah,
you
go
know
ahead.
when you say it's not easy, I remember somebody said not long ago, nothing
Mm-hmm.
worth having is easy.
Mm,
And
Yeah.
so, you can
That
apply that to your relationship too.
not today's society. Today's society, have it now, gotta have it now. Greed is good and all that other good stuff. If you don't, if you step on my toe the wrong way, you gotta go. I'm throwing
Yes.
you out. You gone. Bye.
Don't
See you
don't
later.
don't wait to see what you have and what you can build it into.
Exactly.
Just,
Exactly.
stop this one and try something new. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
these shoes don't match anymore, so I'm gonna just go buy a new pair.
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm.
or I saw another pair of shoes that matched this dress a whole lot better than
Mm-hmm.
the other one, and so I'm gonna just get a new pair, throw the others out. Well, you can't do your relationship like that.
Well, it's
A
done.
relationship
People are
is,
doing that.
I know, but if you really want a good relationship, a strong relationship, you have to work at it.
Well, the word is
Be
we're talking
committed
about
to it.
having a healthy relationship. There are
Yes.
a lot of a striving relationship.
Striving.
They're just striving,
Yes.
okay? And
Yes.
because of striving, then that's that mind thought. That's that belief system.
Mm-hmm.
That's that their motive,
Right.
which is if everything we just got through talking about.
Right.
But if you're trying to operate with a thriving relationship, a healthy relationship, a
Mm-hmm.
balanced relationship,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to have a foundation. So we're going to work on this. We're going to work on rebuilding this, remodeling it,
Yeah.
to expand it. And we know that since it's a long-term commitment, what we talked about
Mm-hmm.
before, then we know that it's not going to be a fly by night. It's not casual, and it's going to take work
Right. Right.
to make it happen. It's not
Long
going to be
term.
the yeah. It's
Mm-hmm.
not going to be the night white shiny armor. You
Yes.
walk over the what is it, the bridge, or walk into the sunset,
Right.
and then
Right.
you wonder what happens on the other side of the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not for real. That's not what happens. It's not in the
Yeah.
movies. So this is all about trying to learn those elements to help you out. And so we want you to share and share alike. Sharon, why don't you bring up one of the things that we talk about that has to do with our hot button?
See, you just spilled beans.
Exactly.
We have hot buttons
We talk about it all the time.
all the time, and we still have them. We still have them for sale. They're
Mm-hmm.
$5 each.
Five
$10.
dollars.
$10 just to
Five
say to you
dollars.
and your partner, I am committed to us having a hot relationship, to us
Exactly.
being honest, open, and transparent. And we're going to wear these buttons just to remind us. And sometimes you have to remind yourselves of things until you get to that point
Exactly.
where it is a habit. So just remind yourself, we're in a hot relationship and we're going to make this a hot relationship.
And the fifth one that either goes to our site to ask for it, or goes and says something as opposed to ATR,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll get it free. You'll
Yep.
get it free. The fifth person who does that will get it free. So I want you to either go ahead and let ATR know something about it, or you post it here. And if you're the fifth one, we'll get that button out to you free of charge. We want you to feel proud, feel comfortable, to feel cool about having a hot relationship. That's very, very important,
Yes.
especially
And
today in the times. We're hearing people talking about civil war is
oh,
coming.
I know.
Oh my God, I know why. With that kind of mind thought that's involved, we don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah.
You're going to be at your job. You can't be at your job. Wonder what your neighborhood's thinking. Wonder who your neighbor, what side your neighbor is on.
Yeah.
Will they close down shops and all that kind of stuff? And so,
Mm-hmm.
it puts a stress on your relationship to the point you wonder why. Nobody got no time for this.
And the sad thing about that
Mm-hmm.
is, people will throw out the terms war so easily.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just
Yet,
bringing fear. Just bringing
exactly.
fear. Keep
Yet,
people from either voting or keeping people from, acting like they can be civil and acting like the same time that they can feel comfortable enough to try to relate to one another, whether
mm-hmm.
it's in the home, whether it's in your
Yeah.
community, anything that has to do with having people more move in such a way that they can try to get along with one another, work
Yes.
with one another, be
Yeah.
to commune and be more community like to one another. Those kind of fear mongering stuff that's out there is about trying to separate people,
Oh, it is.
put them into little barrels, put them in little size, separate them by color
Right.
and sex and so on and so forth. So there's more of a separation.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say it's almost like the Willie Lynch syndrome
Yeah.
that's going on a lot, huh?
And there's truly nothing hot about those types
No.
of statements, because there's no honesty in it. There's no openness in it because you're trying to cover up and hide everything, and there's no transparency in it for the
No.
same reason, because you're trying to hide what the real thing is that's going on.
Yeah.
So, and to bring that into your home, into your relationship, that is what am I trying to say? A recipe for um, a breakdown in your
For
relationship.
confusion, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say it's the same way that back in my days, there were people who were all about what's the word they were looking for? Not catastrophe. What's the word? Um, all our anarchy.
Anarchy.
Yeah. So part
Yes.
of anarchy is you're going to have plain fights and hatreds within
Yes.
with one another. Now,
Yeah.
there's enough of self hate in our black community with one another, and seeing our races there's enough hate. And come to think about it, now that we're talking about the movie that just came out,
Yes.
The Woman King.
Yes.
The Woman King. Man, you're talking about how self-hatred has came out a community where there's so many people who are talking about that movie, and not in a positive way.
Right.
Well, quite a few people, some are black men, some are black women. Of course, we know there are, of course, some white folks and other cultures who are talking about it not in a positive way. But the fact that we have such a open, not debate really,
dialogue,
not that, but a anger between a lot of black men, and intention between black men and black women over that idea of the woman king, especially with the concept that this is just another way to male bash.
Yeah, and it's not.
That's really what it is, another way to male bash. I want to say out there, I understand the men that in turn feel that as a male bashing, because there's no doubt about it. And black men for quite a while have been on the bottom end of the totem pole. We're the ones getting killed. We're the ones being hung much more than black women have.
Yes.
Even today, our young men are being killed much more. Not saying black women haven't been,
right,
but much more is
much
being
more
the target.
because black men are the bigger threat.
Exactly.
You know,
and so because of that reality, there's that contention that because of death is being more how can I say presented in our particular culture between young black men or young men and black men in general, then that should be more of a concern, and we shouldn't have any kind of movies that are supporting or uplifting black women or empowering black women, especially if we put them in a warrior kind of position or a position where they're like that angry woman and they're able to then defend things in a justful way, in a righteous way. Though the movie, if those who haven't saw it, I'm not going to give you so much a spoiler behind it, but if those you did want to see it, it was controversial from the standpoint that it was a kingdom that was actually selling slaves, or enslaved other Africans from other particular villages and selling them to.
They were selling other
white slavers,
other Africans into enslavement,
enslavement itself. And so that was there, and she was part of that kind,
and had done it for generations.
Exactly, and she was part of that a particular kingdom that actually did that, and her job was to protect that kingdom from other kingdoms or other tribes who were trying to come in to take over their land, and basically what they were doing. You know, I would call it jealousy was going on.
Oh, definitely.
And her job was to be kind of like the bodyguard, serious bodyguard. And all them sisters were serious bodyguards. So, I mean, you need to see it to make your own decision. I know they were out there saying that there are some things to do with LGBTQ or LG whatever this Q, and they were also talking about it again, besides the men bashing, and the idea that men were just being killed mostly in it. I think that's something that I heard.
Yeah,
and the women were doing it. I'm like, ooh, okay,
and that's so out of context.
Well, I mean, it did happen.
It did happen, but it was out of context. It just happened to be that the army they were going against was all males.
Yes, the ones
so I mean, of course, if their enemy is male and they are female, and they're killing their enemy, they're going to be killing males.
Exactly.
I mean, there's no way around it.
Well, but I think the other thing is that there were males who were also part of that army,
exactly,
that man's army that also partnered and worked with that female army.
Yes,
even though they were the specialists,
they fought together.
They fought together. Exactly, they fought together in a battle. So I don't know why that wasn't told or wasn't
Right,
brought up,
right.
because they certainly did. And in the movie, it didn't make it seem like it didn't exist, because it did, and certainly gave credit, in at least from what we saw, for the men who fought with the women who were fighting against the other
Yes.
particular men who were like enemies. So that particular part, I don't understand why there was such a controversy in that particular matter.
I think some of it has to do with the fact that um, historically
Mm-hmm.
and culturally,
Mm-hmm.
the term or the word king has been maintained by on the masculine side,
Mm-hmm.
and and the word queen has been the softer word for the woman.
Mm-hmm.
And to put that together, the masculine and the female
Mm-hmm.
together, is like an oxymoron that a lot of people cannot
No,
connect with.
well, that would be what we were saying, since you brought up something new, since you never talked about it to me
I
before
just thought
until now.
I just thought about it as you
Yeah,
made that
yeah.
statement. To be honest with you,
I would say, in question, anybody who's listening to us, I mean, don't be scared from that particular. We're always very open, honest, and transparent in this, and we're still staying on target. That's to do with compatibility. We're still talking about how in our relationships there is that battle in our relationships
yes,
between black men and black women, and kings and queens. And we're talking about compatibility. What you just got through saying right there is that many times folks do not see that a word king placed on a woman would
right,
be what? Compatible
right,
for a woman to have. So let's be
exactly,
honest.
yeah,
They would not see that name
mm-hmm.
traditionally being attached to a king and say that a woman can have that name.
Yes, can rise that high.
I have never, not even rising would not be in my
Mhm.
mind, because I just thought, just like age is just a number. I thought in this particular case, of a particular a name or a title that you give to someone. Okay, it's just a title.
Mhm.
There's a position and responsibilities that come along with it, but
Yes.
don't necessarily mean that person's living up to. Like, for instance, I mean, I came up in a single parent family, and right now I'm still a fatherless son and a son who's fatherless. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm both of them. And so for me, though I had someone called a father with a name, he never fulfilled that role whatsoever.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And so for me, the name of that father is not that specifically moving to me,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a responsibility that comes
Right.
along with it that I did not
Exactly.
see out of this
Exactly.
person who was supposed to be my father.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, you can call yourself what you want, but if you're not actually fulfilling that responsibility that's along with that particular name, then it's just a name.
Right.
It's just a title.
Right.
It's just a position. And that's pretty much how I felt. I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
When that was attached, it was not something I was concerned whatsoever of not being compatible.
Right.
I wanted to see the movie to see what was the element of history, how they interweaved the drama in it, so
Right.
they keep going,
Right.
And then from there make an assessment of it from that
Mm-hmm.
standpoint of
Mm-hmm.
view. It never did bother me at the beginning because of that name. I do know at the end when they went through the process of giving her that position, and she sat right next to him. I'm not going to talk so much for those who haven't seen it. I'll be honest with you, I could see that.
Yes.
I can understand that.
I could too.
She fulfilled the position
Mm-hmm.
by actions
Yes.
of that
Yes.
particular position with that name,
And
she did that on the warrior side.
mm-hmm.
And so from that end, again, I mean, a lot of people can have a lot of names of who they are, but they ain't doing no action. Man.
Right.
It don't mean much to me. You gotta, you remember the old saying, talk is cheap, but money that buys land.
Yeah.
That's where I grew up my own day. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
gonna be a person of your word, then you're gonna get more respect from
Right.
me
Right.
than a lot of people. But otherwise, you can talk all you want.
Yeah.
Or
And
from the Kansas City, Missouri side I come from.
yeah.
What is it?
Show
The
me.
show me state. You
Yeah.
gotta show me from that particular end.
And as she said many times in the movie,
Mhm.
I've earned this.
Yeah, she had.
I've
She did.
earned my position. And that was, as her being the leader of the
Leader of the pack.
warriors.
Mhm.
Pretty much.
She
You know,
was.
she was
She
has
was
earned that in
I
her
say,
actions.
some people say the queen wolf. She was the king wolf.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, she was a queen wolf to them. To him,
Yes.
he made her the king. He
Exactly.
changed the name to cover
Exactly.
her position. So we're talking about compatibility. So we just gave you a lot about that movie, by the way. We didn't give you anything in detail. We kind of gave her our overall because we're basically talking about relationships, of course. And there was a relationship that went on there that has everything to do with relationships that we have and we do in our own relationships. And that's why we wanted to bring that up because that's a hot topic. But that relationship we saw was between the warrior lady, okay, of
Yes.
Viola, whatever they need to call
Viola
her. You remember
Davis.
the name they called her in the movie? I can't remember. I don't even
Oh,
remember.
I
Can you believe
cannot
that?
remember it offhand. It's on the tip of my tongue.
I don't even remember.
It starts with an N, and I cannot
Yeah,
remember.
I don't remember too.
Um,
Her character, how she acted and possessed,
was more than her
it
name.
was more than the name,
Yeah.
really. Even the
Yeah.
young lady that acted in it, which we can't give you any, what do you call it?
Details about
Details
her.
about that, about
Yeah.
her and who she really was in
Yeah.
connection with the two. They both definitely acted very, very
They
well.
did.
They
They
should get an
did.
Emmy or
Yeah.
Oscar or from the NAACP or whatever it is, BET. They definitely should get one because they definitely
Yes.
acted their
They
self
did.
out.
And
What were they doing?
that young girl, her expression, her facial
Hmm.
expressions were so on target,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
it was
And some of them I thought were a little over the top, but yet
in that moment.
and the surroundings around it did very
Yeah,
well. It did very
in that
well.
moment, it was like the thoughts that were in her head were revealed on her face,
Exactly.
and
She did good for a young
oh yeah,
self.
it was very good.
So since we are talking about and we got nobody after no likes or nothing right now, we must be talking something everybody's scared of. Anyway, I hope not. Oh, now you always are able to join in, as you already know. No question is dumb. We're still
They'll
relationship
get there.
counselors. So this is all about relationship
Coaches.
counseling, coaching. Excuse me.
We're relationship coaches.
Yes, we're all we do some counseling too. I'll be honest
Yeah.
with you, but we're all about trying to get you to that goal of having you a more expanded, hopefully remodel relationship where
Yes.
you are able to be more fulfilling with one another and have more of a us than
Yes.
just individual eyes in it. It's called being more interpersonal
Yes.
or interdependent in that
Yes.
relationship, not dependent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Not independent. We're talking
But
about independent. And
interdependent.
interdependent is what you can actually do with somebody else that would end up being more than what you could do by yourself.
Right.
That's what it is. I'll say it again. You can do more with somebody else than what you can do by yourself. Most of us every day go to our job. That's what happens.
Yes.
We ain't the only one working on that job.
No.
We're not the sole
only
proprietor.
one. Not the only one that's working towards the final outcome.
Yeah, whatever the outcome is for your boss,
Yeah.
for whatever you're working for. So, you could do the same thing if you're working on your relationship at home. And some of you out there are doing that. You got partners and you're working towards that, using that balance, using that friendship as that basis.
And that hot principle.
Exactly. So compatibility. We're talking about compatibility now using this movie that now is in the forefront for the community a lot. We're talking about compatibility that has to do with outside relationships.
Yes.
That's right. In our relationships, dealing with compatibility,
Right.
there are outside relationships that are happening. And that's what we saw here. That king had more than, well, we won't get into it, but he had more than one queen. One specifically was the one that they showed up the most.
Yes.
But the woman king happened to be the one that represented that outside relationship.
Yes.
Where she was able to connect with him in such a way that the wife really could not, at least one of the wives could really connect with. And so we got to see that outside relationships can also be very, very important in your relationship with your mate. And you can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can't say, oh, that shouldn't exist when it comes to outside relationships. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And once we talk about it, it will make sense to you when it comes to the idea of outside relationships. Because to be honest with you, many of us already have outside relationships.
Yes.
We already are working on outside relationship. And no, I'm not going to talk about the hidden girls on the side.
No,
I'm not talking about your side chicks. Okay.
Or your side guys.
Side guys. No, we're not even talking about this. Once we begin to talk about it a little bit, you'll say, oh yeah, you're right about that. I've been having those. You're right. I didn't see it this way.
Yes.
So we're going to kind of start with that first as our part one is outside relationships that have to do with compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a chance, are they really compatible or are they not? They might be side ones that you should not be having because they're
Yes.
not really compatible. You're going to say something. I'm sorry. I
Oh
must
no,
not
no,
heard that.
no. I was just following along with you, and we
Mm-hmm.
were we were kind of saying the same sentences
Mm-hmm.
together, and whatnot. But when it comes to those outside relationships, the compatibility of the outside relationships, we generally don't think about them as being
Mm-hmm.
um, relationships that would require compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of fall into them, and oh yeah, that's my this, and she's my that, and he's my whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see it as we're like this because we are compatible.
Mm-hmm.
We have the same mindset. Have the same ideology. We can vibe together.
Look, give a little definition of compatibility before we move on. You got one person got a like right now. Hopefully, some more who are watching this right now, but it's not saying anything. But give a little definition of compatibility because we've been kicking around that word
Yes,
compatibility,
yes,
even
yes.
starting off. Give a little definition. What's compatibility when it comes to in a relationship?
Compatibility in compatible. I can't even talk
You
right
sound
now.
like me sometimes.
I know,
Yeah.
easy for me to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Compatible couples have a healthy relationship. They share similar views and comprehend each other's perspectives in life. Being compatible could help you get along with your other half.
Or your other hole. All depends.
Yes. Which is, anyway, I won't go
Mm-hmm.
into that. Even though you have contrasting opinions,
Mm-hmm.
good compatibility brings understanding, acceptance, and a strong interdependent relationship. A strong interdependent relationship.
There again. So now you know the definition of compatibility. You're
Yes.
connecting, you're
Mm-hmm.
vibing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you could be vibing at different levels. Let's give an example. Let's give an example of an outside compatibility relationship that you have. I'm starting first. I'm pointing at you first.
Okay.
Okay.
I have
This is an example.
yeah, this is an example. I have an outside friendship
Mm-hmm.
with my coworker. My coworker,
Q.
yep, my coworker Q.
Mm-hmm.
We will laugh and talk about stuff, and we can sometimes sit. We share a classroom because she's a co-teacher. I am certificated as a regular ed teacher. I teach English in high school right now, secondary education, and she is certificated as um, special needs teacher. And so, since they're both in the classroom, um, we work together. And a lot of the co-teaching situations, they don't go that well. As a matter of fact, when I have one of my classes that I don't have a co-teacher in, she goes to another class, and they're like oil and water.
Mm-hmm.
And she hates going to that class. Um, but we will we talk about things, we visit each other, we're just good friends. She has embraced my other best friend and my first best friend, and and it's a good situation. We will look across the classroom at each other and just start laughing because we both are laughing about what has happened that has gone over somebody else's head,
Mm-hmm.
all the students' heads. And, it's a very close relationship that we have. As a matter of fact, I was talking to her about this a few days ago, and I was telling her that she was my compatibility friend. She was my friend because we have compatibility, and we were agreeing on that. And she was like, and told her that we were talking about this on the show tonight. And she said, I should call in. I said, yeah. I said, just, come on and, and listen in on what we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you can put in a comment if you want to, but
Mm-hmm.
she probably won't because just so happens today she has chemo. And
Yeah.
she had it late today
Yeah.
instead of in the morning
Yeah,
like she
yeah,
usually
and there's something
does.
about that compatible friend. You do have close at the school and is created in that position. But
Hmm.
she also is cancer patient,
Yes.
and she still goes to school
Almost every
every
day.
day.
Yes.
Still has her wits and spirits about her, and she presents herself to you as believing that you are just as human as she is,
Yes.
and all the flaws and
Mm-hmm.
all those things that in turn other people would look over she has. And so part of that lesson is that a person who's compatible will have that connection to you
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
They will make you feel like you're human.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes.
A human or a woman.
Yeah.
Anywhere it goes.
Or
They
a woman of hue. Yeah.
exactly. So that's how they would make you feel from
Yes.
that end. So
Yes.
you could tell by us talking about that. It's not well, it's a girl or man that specifically I'm having on the side outside of my relationship.
No.
My relationship is now being dumped to the side or not good up. No, we're not talking about that.
No.
The compatibility we're talking about, again, going back to the movie, was something that's supportive of you,
Exactly.
something supportive that's part of what you're doing in life.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, like you're teaching, and
Yes.
that person is there to connect with you, to partner with you, and help support you,
Right.
and has your back at that school.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And we do. We support each other.
Mm-hmm.
When when she's out, I tell them do not send anybody in as a substitute.
Mm-hmm.
We got this all figured out, and I got this. When I had to leave a couple of days ago,
Mm-hmm.
last week, I had an appointment I had to go to for. I missed a class and a half. She covered them for me. She took our class that we have together
Mm-hmm.
by herself, and then the other class that I have after that, she
Mm-hmm.
she had plans, so she stayed in and she covered that class. She said, "Don't worry about it, I got you."
Exactly.
And that's the way we do.
Just think about all those who are listening right now. Again, we're talking about compatibility on the outside. We're talking about compatibility, similar perspectives in life, willing to work with one another, willing to understand with one another, having strong interdependence between one another. And we simply are now talking about a work, what would you call them? Partner,
Yes.
a workmate,
Mhm.
someone who works with you very much could be your what?
Partner.
Compatible
Partner.
partner.
Yeah.
Now, we watch a lot of TV shows right now that push that strongly and have been doing it for years. Now, we got a problem with this representations of these partnership kind of images, especially because sometimes in real life they don't necessarily act this way in their communities when they show up, to be honest with you. But we are used to seeing this partnership for a long, long time. And it may be nothing to do with a male or a female. They could be both the same sexes, but they are partnership who are ready to die, support, and uplift one another. Sometimes it causes a problem in the whole relationship with their actual mates, to be honest with
Yes.
you. But
Yes.
we won't go down that road until later on, because that
Mhm.
is like with everything.
Yes.
There's a good and the bad. You got to
Right.
find the what?
Right. The
The balance
balance.
in it.
Mhm.
But what particular career do you think that we all know of watching on show? Well, I told you, if you're going to listen to this, you're going to find out we're not talking anything that we don't already know when it comes to compatibility in the relationship, but we're now starting out with compatibility outside of the
Mhm.
relationship because of the movie that we just got through seeing. That's
Right.
important. What career do you think I'm talking about?
Hmm. Let's see if this was a Jeopardy question.
Does anybody out there would like to text us and
Put
give
it in
us what they
comments.
in the comments what they think, what career I'm talking about? That partnership has been shown through TV for years, in movies for years, and we don't think there's anything wrong with that when it comes down to this kind of partnership that's shown. Anybody, anyone want to give it a try?
Take a guess. If you're right, we'll send you a heart
A
button,
heart pat,
a
hot
hot
button.
button.
Take a
What
guess.
is wrong with me? I cannot talk
I
today.
don't know. I don't know.
I think
I
I
really
probably
don't know.
talked too much today.
Probably. Okay. At school, you did. You didn't do it when you come home.
I know. I was trying to rest my mouth.
Fresh your eyes over there. It
I
is.
talked
Well, when you
for.
get on here, girl, you're ready to
I
go.
know.
Yeah,
That's what
ready
I
to
was
go.
trying to rest up for.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah,
That's a good one.
I talked for about 7 hours
Okay.
today.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You sure left enough for this. So take some when you get home.
I'm trying to hold
Can
my.
you hold it back?
I'm trying to do my part.
Well, what a part as partners as we are right now. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say it because I think everybody has probably gave up on it,
Waiting with bated
but
breath.
it's actually called police.
Yep.
Police.
Yep.
That's right, folks. Police.
Yep.
For years, we have seen that relationship in the police force,
Fire too. Fire department
fire
too.
department,
Uh-huh.
but mostly it's still
Yep.
police.
Yep.
And so it's not anything unnew about partnerships outside of relationship. It's something we've seen, we know.
Mm-hmm.
We might even be married to a police officer, man or woman, and their partner who they are with. Most of the time they try to pair them so they become that they're compatible at the beginning, or they learn to become compatible,
Mm-hmm.
because many times it's because their life is on the line out in the street.
Yes.
So they have to get close as partners.
Yes. And sometimes they know more about their partner
Sadly,
than the
I
partners.
know that they're married to.
Uh-huh.
That's a sad situation
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That's that unbalanced side that we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about.
Yeah.
But we're giving a good example of how outside of the relationship you could be connected with someone who's very
Right.
compatible. I do know in my old days, watching with my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the war movies always were showing the partnerships,
Oh
the
yeah.
band of brothers.
Yes.
The last movie that the young brother who before he passed away, who was in Black Panther, he played in the movie of being with older brothers who were in the military together, and they were doing some kind of ventures thing to find some gold or find some whatever it was.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was called, but that was just another example of how men will come together as partnership, and we see that a
Mm-hmm.
lot in the movies,
Right.
war movies, that they were partnering in foxholes and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So partnership outside of the relationship is not anything that's not new, even as we saw in this relationship that had to do on the movie the Woman King, in this particular case. And so we know that if it's out of, and we're starting again on the job side, we know that many times our partner would be another opposite sex.
Right.
It would be opposite sex. I know when I was in the military, a lot of the guys who spent a lot of times, and some of you could probably verify, who were in the Navy, they would say, since they're on the boat for years, every Navy man or Navy woman, the Navy woman would have a ship wife, and the Navy man, a ship
Ship
husband,
husband.
and the Navy man will have a what? A
Ship
ship
wife.
wife. Did you know that at all?
I did not.
Oh yeah, yeah. I talked with many, being in the military and stuff, and then talking to many Navy people that would
Mm-hmm.
said, yeah, they formed like that when they were on the boat, because many times when they're out on the boat, they're out to sea for months.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of months.
Wow.
No real communication. Some back in the old days, no real communication back home whatsoever.
Well, but back then it was gender specific. I mean, the ships were all males
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah, but
It was
now
just,
it's not.
yeah, now
Now
it's not.
now. So these are just one of the examples from the low end to the high end,
Mm-hmm.
how that we could have compatible relationships outside of our relationship that
Right,
we're
right.
compatible with. And the compatibility, we're not talking about a sexual compatibility.
No, no, no.
So we're talking about it's a part of life that you're doing, that in turn that other person is close to doing,
Mm-hmm.
are doing along with you, are partnering for you to be able to do with them.
Yeah.
And from that builds a relationship.
Yeah.
And it is based on what's common and what you both are doing.
Right. And sometimes that's the person that you can be the most hot with, just depending on the nature of your true intimate relationship.
Yes.
Because sometimes your friends take you at face value, and you don't realize, or you don't know, or you're not sure if your partner will accept some of the things that you're thinking and feeling, and be okay with it. But you have nothing to lose, you think, with your friend.
Yeah, yeah. And see, that very thing that Sharon just talked about, that's the very thing that you really, in a balanced, healthy relationship, should first have started with your friend.
Exactly.
That area
Exactly.
should be that way with your friend. If on your job that compatibility connection person gets and knows more things personally about you than the relationship that you're in,
There's a problem.
there is definitely a
There's a
problem.
problem.
That is where your relationship has to move into a balanced, healthy relationship, where it is very highly important that that information, that knowledge should be shared and known through the heart principle
Oh yeah.
with the partner that you're with. But many a times, because of the job situation is set up and has been set up, that what you do at your job is not necessarily the same thing you do at home. And I'm not talking
Exactly.
about just
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Because
I'm talking about
yeah,
how you're feeling, how
how
you're
you
talking, how you
express yourself.
interface,
Yeah.
express yourself.
Yeah.
And therefore that kind of,
Yeah.
I think it's a very unhealthy
It
way for
is. It
relationships
is.
to present that. I understand jobs do that for the standpoint of cohesion,
Mm-hmm.
of togetherness,
Camaraderie.
camaraderie, to have them work good on the assembly line as
Right.
good widgets so
Yeah.
they can get the job done.
Yeah.
And I like togetherness, rah
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I understand that. But when it then interferes and replaces that same kind of elements, connective elements that should be connecting or be the glue in your relationship, especially from a healthy, balanced
Mm-hmm.
relationship side, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
And I think that's one of the reasons some people
Mhm.
don't want to work at the same place as their spouse.
Exactly.
Oh, we can't work together.
Mhm.
Oh no, why would I want to work same place?
Mhm.
I can't see him or her all day long and then all night long too. Why
Exactly.
not? I mean, why wouldn't you?
Well, it could be what we discussed this in the first time, because I act a certain way on my job.
Exactly.
I can be more open. I can
Yeah.
be more gregarious, whatever you may want to talk about when I get home. Oh shoot, man, it's her.
Shut down
I
time.
got shut down time. I got to put on my
Yes.
game face. It ain't gonna really happen because
Yes.
she ain't gonna let me do that.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
other way around.
Right.
The guy job that I'm working with every day in the administration office, he's the manager over there, man. He's complimenting me all the time, telling me I'm good, I'm doing at the job, making me feel good. I can't do that at home because he don't ever say nothing positive to me. He takes me everything I do for granted. He didn't think my job important, so on and so forth.
Never do anything right.
Exactly.
Blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's where we're talking about that other side, the unbalanced side, that doesn't keep it thriving. So,
but at that point, there is some sense of incompatibility there.
Yeah,
because you would want to. I mean,
but you're talking about the incompatibility that has to do with within the relationship,
exactly,
not necessarily outside of the relationship.
No.
Unless that person was purposely, which does happen sometimes, trying to challenge your relationship with what you're having with someone else, and they're purposely trying to withdraw you from that.
Right.
And I know that's not what we're talking about.
No.
Trying to get into that because we're just not.
No.
But you're right. If it's a problem that's within that relationship, it could be because there really was no real compatibility in the first place.
And that's where I was going, because you if you are never showing your appreciation to somebody that you're in a relationship with, if you're always putting them down, if then there is something about them in the first place that wasn't compatible with you, and you knew that, or you figured it out, but you need to try to fix that rather than continuing with that negative behavior. So if you have to shut down when you get home because your spouse is not going to hear you or let you talk or whatever, that's something that needs to be worked out, because if you are a talker, that's something that you need to be able to do freely at home. So that conversation needs to be had.
Even that much more.
Exactly.
Even that much more.
Yes.
I do mean even that much more.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means sometimes when you come home, even that much more.
I'm not a chatterbox anyway.
At school you are. I've been in your class. You chatter like a box.
But that is because I have to pass on certain information,
you've been trained
and
to
I
be
have
that way.
a certain amount of time to do it. Exactly.
To be that way.
But when I'm not at work, do you see me chatter a lot with anybody?
What's that? I ain't worried about anybody else. I'm being selfish.
No, but I know that. But what I'm saying is my character is not a chatterbox. It never has been.
It should be, because the hot principle kind of impresses upon you being more open, honest, and transparent.
But here's the thing: if somebody,
hold on a second. If you are being more communicative in your job because your job is training that way, and then in turn you lessen up your communication skills when you're in your own relationship, then you're not being compatible in your relationship.
Okay, so
and that's that portion that has to do with what we just got through. We're going back into that in your relationship. Then compatibility then it's a problem.
Okay. So
Communication is a very strong and now you already know
yeah,
that communication
yeah,
is a very important
yes, it is.
thing in a
It
relationship. So
is.
if you're more communicative at your job, talking of a job, and you get more people to comprehend and understand you, even if it's your compatible partner or anyone else you're relating to,
Mhm.
but at home, that's not happening. That person is
Right.
not getting that same kind of communication, not getting that same kind of openness because you are not being as communicative.
Right.
You have to agree that's a problem. That's a
That's a
lack of
problem.
compatibility in the
That's a
relationship. You
problem.
can't be turning that off and on. I mean, you started it off when we talked about it
Yeah.
that way.
But let me fix that.
Okay,
You know how I'm gonna
talk to
fix
me.
you know how I'm gonna
Don't
fix
talk
it?
to me quick. Talk to me.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna write some lesson plans for home.
Now ain't your kid now.
No, I didn't say that. I said lesson plans
I'll
for
give I'll
home.
give you an apple once a week because I like giving apples to the teacher.
Oh, I'll take it from you, baby. I'll take
But
it.
you but you
But
you understand
yes.
that you many times we have been taught to be more
Mhm.
open or somewhat authentic
Mhm.
at our jobs
Yeah.
for the job
Yeah.
purposes to keep that company to make a
Mhm.
profit, to
Right.
make
Right.
sure that the owner in turn does well. But
Right.
it's not necessarily something that's taught or told you that you should do the same thing. Of course, they don't feel it's a responsibility
Exactly.
anyway, but it's a skill that in turn you should be able and should want to be able to practice in your own home. If
You're
anything,
right.
that should be the first place that
Yeah.
you practice those
It's the
skills
testing ground.
because that's are supposed to be the basis
Mhm.
that your relationship in life is
Yeah.
based on
Yeah.
is that mate that's in your life. And
Right.
of course, that's what we saw in the movie. I mean,
Mhm.
from that particular end.
And from this point,
Yeah.
see, and this is
Mm-hmm.
that's why talking is something good,
Mm-hmm.
because this is the first time that you connected in such a way that it connected with me,
Mm-hmm.
how I speak so much at work
Mm-hmm.
when I'm truly not one that is just always babbling away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but my lesson plans are topics for discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So I can do lesson plans at home, which
Mm-hmm.
will be topics for discussion.
Well, I've been
So
talking
I
to you
will
about that, mother.
I know, but
And part of the stuff that we talk
it
about
just
now, a topic for
yeah,
discussion that we have once in a while.
yeah. But and here's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I was born to be a teacher, and so my mindset is that way.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about it as lesson plans, it's a no-brainer for me.
Well, on the spiritual side, which is important that our relationships always should be moving from the
Mhm.
spiritual side.
Yes.
We have spiritual purposes of who we
Yes.
are and
Yes.
how we should relate.
Mhm.
And even that much more in a relationship, we should be the spirited, authentic person of who we are. That's the grounding roots
You're right.
that in turn we should be standing on. And with that at hand, if your gifting is to be a teacher, it should never be boxed in just within
Right.
the classroom.
You're
It should
absolutely
never
right.
be boxed in just given because of the fact that someone told me I'm a teacher and I'm going to pay you that price, that money, and then I
Right.
do nothing else with it. It's a
Especially
gift that you are to share with anybody and
mhm.
everybody,
Yeah.
and how much more to the person that you
Yeah.
care about and you love. So
You're exactly
yeah,
right. Especially when I know I would teach even if I wasn't getting paid
exactly.
for it.
So
So yeah,
Zaria, which is the
it's all
name
right.
that you Zaria, excuse me, that you like you're correcting me like a teacher right now, that you yourself don't even follow all the time, Zaria, is the spiritual side. That's a teacher that wants to
Yeah.
teach and can't teach the world like
Yeah.
you do, even when you talk many times. I know some of the folks are listening to and see some of the wise things that come out of your mouth
Mm.
and how you say it and the expression on your face. That's that spiritual side of you, Azare, that is part of you, the side that I love, that I'm also connected to. But that's
Mhm.
that balanced side that we have to continue to expose to the world and continue in turn, especially expose it to your partner,
Yeah.
and allow yourself to expand in your
Yes.
relationship. That's part of what they call living a life that's fulfilling,
Yes.
being who you
Yes.
really are
Your
and taking
authentic
that purpose.
self.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, we're almost coming to an end. It's 6:55.
Yeah, we've got about
6:55.
3
We're almost
minutes, I
alive. They
think.
got about 3 minutes, and then we got to shut down. I don't know if our partner, excuse me, I don't know how compatibility our guy is at this particular time. If he's still around, our engineer,
Uh,
but
looks
he
like
could be. He
looks
could
like
be. I don't know.
I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure
know.
he
He
is.
could
But
be.
we've got, like we said,
Talk about the show real quickly.
we've got about 3 minutes. Yes, on Saturday morning you can catch us on WRUU
Mhm,
at 9 o'clock from 9 to 10. We're taking the journey together.
mhm,
We're also we'll be talking about compatibility there, but
mhm.
it's not the same thing because we are rather spontaneous in what we do and say on the shows. So even though we have a basic game plan, the information will be different. So you can get two sides of two different views of the same topic.
Where compatibility has compatibility has so many different signs.
Yes.
When it comes to compatibility,
Yes.
it's not just one way. I know we talked about the outside way of having outside
Yeah.
compatibility relationships, but especially in the inside,
Yes.
there are different signs of compatibility that you look at, that you nourish, that you build, you expand on in your relationship, because that's what you're hopefully trying to do. You're trying to relate in such a way to the other individual life that you get to know that you know that you know that you know
right
why you're here in your life with them. Okay, sounds like we got a beat with us to go.
So, yep, we've got.
He has us still on live and not off the right way.
Yeah. Well,
what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Are
we
we
hit her off right here? Which one?
I don't.
Like this. Like this. Like this. Like this. Like this. Like this. Like this.